Theodore Roosevelt emerged as a dynamic and determined young leader whose early life was marked by both privilege and adversity, setting the foundation for his future role as a transformative figure in American history. Born into the prominent Roosevelt family of New York City, Theodore was raised in an environment steeped in wealth and social status, yet he faced significant personal challenges from a young age. Afflicted with severe asthma, Roosevelt's childhood was often fraught with physical difficulties that threatened to limit his ambitions. However, he refused to be constrained by his ailments and instead developed a robust interest in natural history and politics, demonstrating a precocious intellect and a boundless curiosity about the world around him. His early fascination with the natural world and the workings of government signaled the broad range of interests that would characterize his public life. Roosevelt's education at Harvard University further honed his intellectual and leadership abilities, providing him with a platform to engage deeply with political ideas and public service. At Harvard, he cultivated friendships and developed a disciplined work ethic that would serve him well in the turbulent years ahead. Upon graduation, Roosevelt quickly entered public life, securing a seat in the New York State Assembly, where he began to earn a reputation as a reform-minded legislator with a keen eye for combating corruption and inefficiency. His time in the Assembly was marked by vigorous advocacy for progressive causes, reflecting his belief in the necessity of government intervention to promote fairness and justice within society. Tragedy struck Roosevelt's personal life in a manner that profoundly affected his trajectory. The simultaneous deaths of his wife, Alice Lee Roosevelt, and his mother on the same day plunged him into a period of deep mourning. This devastating loss prompted him to retreat temporarily from public life and seek solace in the rugged outdoors of the Badlands in North Dakota, where he embraced the challenges of frontier life. This interlude not only restored his physical vigor but also reinforced his commitment to a vigorous and active existence, embodying the rugged individualism that would become a hallmark of his character. The experience in the Badlands was formative, shaping his views on conservation and the importance of preserving the natural environment, themes that would later emerge prominently during his presidency. Returning to New York, Roosevelt's reformist zeal found expression in his appointment as New York City Police Commissioner, a role in which he sought to root out corruption and inefficiency within the police force. His tenure was characterized by a relentless drive to impose discipline and accountability, often clashing with entrenched political interests resistant to change. Roosevelt's approach to law enforcement reflected his broader philosophy of energetic governance and moral rectitude, as he believed that public institutions must serve the people effectively and honestly. His efforts in this position further elevated his profile and demonstrated his capacity to implement meaningful reforms in complex bureaucratic settings. Roosevelt's rise to national prominence accelerated with his appointment as Assistant Secretary of the Navy, where he advocated strongly for naval expansion and modernization at a time when the United States was asserting itself more aggressively on the global stage. His tenure at the Navy Department was marked by a clear vision of American strength and preparedness, anticipating the country's increasing involvement in international affairs. When the Spanish-American War broke out, Roosevelt's patriotic fervor and adventurous spirit led him to resign his post and volunteer to lead a cavalry regiment known as the Rough Riders. His leadership during the war, particularly at the Battle of San Juan Hill, earned him widespread acclaim and heroic status, cementing his reputation as both a war hero and a man of action. This combination of military valor and political acumen propelled Roosevelt into the national spotlight, setting the stage for his subsequent political ascent. Throughout these early years, Roosevelt's determination to challenge the status quo and his ability to navigate both reformist politics and populist appeal distinguished him as a formidable figure in American public life. His experiences, from the halls of Harvard to the rugged Badlands, from the New York State Assembly to the battlefield, collectively forged a leader who was unafraid to confront adversity and seize opportunity. Roosevelt was not merely a product of his privileged upbringing, he was a self-made force whose early life was defined by resilience, reform, and an unyielding commitment to public service that would soon reshape the American political landscape. Following his wartime heroism and growing national reputation, Theodore Roosevelt transitioned seamlessly into a political career defined by progressive reforms and assertive leadership, first as governor of New York and soon after ascending to the national stage. His election as governor was marked by a vigorous campaign against corruption and corporate excess, where Roosevelt implemented a series of progressive reforms aimed at dismantling entrenched political machines and fostering greater accountability within the state government. His administration took on monopolistic trusts and championed labor rights, reflecting his belief that government must serve as a bulwark against the excesses of industrial capitalism. Roosevelt's governance was characterized by a pragmatic yet forceful approach, balancing the interests of business with the need for social justice, and setting a precedent for the progressive movement that would sweep through the nation in the early 20th century. Roosevelt's reformist zeal and rising popularity did not go unnoticed, leading to his nomination as vice president under President William McKinley. Although the vice presidency was often considered a sidelined role, Roosevelt's ambitions and energy remained undiminished, and he continued to influence policy and public opinion from this position. The tragic assassination of McKinley thrust Roosevelt into the presidency, making him the youngest individual ever to hold the office at that time. This sudden ascendancy presented Roosevelt with an unprecedented opportunity to translate his reformist ideals into national policy, and he embraced the presidency with unparalleled vigor and determination. Central to Roosevelt's presidency was the implementation of the Square Deal, a comprehensive domestic program aimed at ensuring fairness for all Americans by targeting the abuses of corporate trusts, enhancing consumer protections, and promoting the conservation of natural resources. Roosevelt's trust-busting efforts were particularly notable as he challenged powerful monopolies that dominated key industries, using the Sherman Antitrust Act to break up combinations that stifled competition and exploited consumers. His administration also championed legislation to regulate food and drug safety, responding to public outcries over unsanitary conditions and fraudulent practices, thus protecting citizens' health and well-being. Meanwhile, Roosevelt's passion for conservation led to the expansion of the national park system and the establishment of numerous wildlife refuges, reflecting his enduring commitment to preserving America's natural heritage for future generations. On the international front, Roosevelt's presidency was marked by an assertive and pragmatic foreign policy that sought to elevate the United States' status as a global power. His role in negotiating an end to the Russo-Japanese War earned him the Nobel Peace Prize, the first American to receive this honor, and underscored his belief in the importance of diplomatic engagement alongside military preparedness. Roosevelt's foreign policy was further exemplified by the construction of the Panama Canal, a monumental engineering project that not only facilitated global maritime trade but also symbolized American ingenuity and strategic foresight. The Roosevelt corollary to the Monroe Doctrine asserted the United States' right to intervene in Latin American affairs to maintain stability and order, reflecting his vision of America as a proactive guardian of the Western Hemisphere. Throughout his presidency, Roosevelt combined his progressive domestic agenda with a robust international posture, balancing reformist ideals with the realities of power politics. His leadership style was characterized by personal charisma, bold decision-making, and an unwavering belief in the capacity of government to enact positive change. He cultivated a direct relationship with the American public, utilizing the burgeoning media landscape to communicate his policies and rally support. Roosevelt's presidency thus redefined the role of the executive branch, expanding its influence and setting a standard for future presidents to engage actively with both domestic and foreign issues. Roosevelt's progressive reforms and assertive diplomacy left an indelible mark on the nation, as he sought to create a more equitable society while positioning the United States as a formidable actor on the world stage. His efforts to regulate industry, protect consumers, and conserve natural resources reflected a holistic vision of governance that prioritized the common good. Simultaneously, his foreign policy initiatives demonstrated a sophisticated understanding of international dynamics and a willingness to wield American power responsibly. Roosevelt's time in office was a pivotal chapter in the evolution of American politics, signaling a departure from laissez-faire attitudes toward a more engaged and interventionist government committed to both social progress and national strength. After leaving the presidency, Theodore Roosevelt continued to exert a profound influence on American politics and society, embarking on explorations and public endeavors that underscored his restless energy and enduring commitment to national service. His post-presidential years were marked by a return to the frontier spirit that had shaped his youth, as he undertook expeditions into uncharted regions, including a notable journey through the Amazon basin, which tested his physical endurance and intellectual curiosity. These explorations not only satisfied Roosevelt's personal passion for natural history and adventure but also contributed to scientific knowledge and conservation efforts, reinforcing his legacy as a pioneering environmentalist. His continued public presence ensured that his ideas and leadership style remained relevant in the evolving landscape of American politics. Roosevelt's advocacy extended beyond exploration into the realm of military preparedness and international policy, where he played a significant role in shaping the modern conception of American imperialism. He championed the modernization and expansion of the armed forces, anticipating the demands of global conflicts that would soon engulf the world. His belief in a strong military was intertwined with his vision of the United States as a global power capable of defending its interests and promoting stability abroad. This stance influenced subsequent administrations and helped lay the groundwork for America's emergence as a dominant force in the 20th century. Roosevelt's articulation of a proactive foreign policy, coupled with his emphasis on national strength, reflected a nuanced understanding of the interplay between military capability and diplomatic influence. Throughout his later years, Roosevelt remained an active participant in the progressive movement, inspiring and shaping reforms that addressed social injustices and economic inequalities. His advocacy helped propel the movement forward, influencing legislation and public attitudes toward government's role in regulating industry and protecting workers' rights. Roosevelt's vision of progressivism was multifaceted, encompassing not only political and economic reforms but also cultural and environmental concerns. His writings and speeches continued to resonate with a generation grappling with rapid industrialization and social change, solidifying his reputation as a leading intellectual and moral voice in American life. In addition to his political and exploratory pursuits, Roosevelt was a prolific writer, producing extensive works on history, politics, and his own experiences. His literary contributions provided insight into his philosophy and offered a detailed account of the transformative era in which he lived. Through his books and articles, Roosevelt sought to educate and influence public opinion, demonstrating his belief in the power of ideas and communication to shape society. His writings remain valuable historical documents, reflecting the complexity of his character and the breadth of his interests. Theodore Roosevelt's death in 1919 marked the end of a remarkable life defined by vigorous leadership and an unyielding dedication to the American ideal. His passing was mourned nationwide, as the country recognized the loss of a figure who had reshaped the political landscape and embodied the spirit of a rapidly changing nation. Roosevelt's enduring reputation as a larger-than-life reformer and visionary leader continues to inspire historians and citizens alike. His legacy is that of a maverick who challenged conventions and expanded the possibilities of presidential power, leaving an indelible imprint on the fabric of American history. If you loved the story, like the video and subscribe.